What's up, guys? I'm LQ. This is the LQ Review. Thank you so much for joining me here at my YouTube channel. This is where we talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff. We love to talk about movies, video games, comic books, TV shows. If it's geeky, if it's nerdy, right here is where we talk about it. Right now, I want to give you guys my review of this movie that just snuck under the radar. I didn't even know it was coming out, and I loved it. Flat out loved it. A movie called Vampires versus the Bronx. It's a Netflix, I think it's a Netflix original movie, and I just had no idea it was coming. I am not a fan of vampire movies traditionally. I just feel like there's been so many of them and they've just been overdone. You've got John Carpenter's vampires, you've got sparkly vampires, you've got comic book vampires in Blade, you've got all these different kinds of versions of vampires, you've got the romantic vampires, Lestat, you've got all this stuff going on as far as vampires are concerned. You've got the Dracula, Bram Stoker, you've got the old school Dracula, you've got the Dracula from Monster Squad, you've got all these different versions of vampires, even the comedic ones, right? That I just am burned out on vampires. I don't like vampire movies. It's not something that I watch. If there's a vampire movie coming out, I usually shrug my shoulders and say, so? But for whatever reason, it was the poster for Vampires vs. the Bronx that really pulled me in. I was watching this thing, or I was scrolling through Netflix, and I saw like the thumbnail, the big thumbnail at the top of the screen, and for whatever reason, it kind of gave me a Attack the Block vibe. Attack the Block is that movie with oh gosh, what's Finn's name? John Boyega. Attack the Block is the movie with John Boyega, and it came out several years ago about aliens that attacked the hood, and it was a really good, really fun movie. It was very ridiculous, but it took itself just seriously enough that you could really have fun with it, and it was a good movie. I really like Attack the Block a lot. And for whatever reason, this gave me an Attack the Block vibe. And so I was like, oh, why not? I'll turn it on. I'll probably turn it off after 10 minutes. And I was hooked. It gave me, yeah, and you know what? It did. It gave me Attack the Block vibes throughout the whole movie. It also gave me the Lost Boys vibe. And it gave me a little bit of Monster Squad in there. It definitely had a Monster Squad vibe, a bit of a Goonies vibe. There's a lot of that going on, and I really liked it a lot. The kids do a great job of being these likable kids. I mean, I would describe them to the Goonies. I would compare them to the Goonies at how likable they are. You just genuinely enjoyed watching these kids on screen do what they were doing their job of acting acting out this vampire movie, and it was just a lot of fun. The vampires themselves, they were just scary enough that you could feel the kids' fear without being like, it's not a horror movie. There's nothing real grotesque about this movie. There's no real gore, but it was very much on the scale of like Monster Squad, where you could feel that these kids were in danger and that they believed that they were in danger, and as an audience you felt, yeah, you could sense the danger that they were in. The filmmakers did a good job of conveying that danger, but at the same time it wasn't like this horrific, awful thing where you're at the edge of your seat and you're scared. And there's nothing wrong with that. I really love horror movies, like even ones involving kids. It is an example of that. I love it, but this isn't the same kind of dread that you had in It. This is more along the lines of a Stranger Things, right? You're at the edge of your seat, you're tense, you're wondering what's going to happen next, but you never really feel a whole lot of terror. It's more along the lines of just thrilling, and that's really what I get with Vampires versus the Bronx. Each kid had their own personality and really did a good job of conveying that personality without getting stereotypical either. You had your had your African American kid. You know, you had your I don't know what ethnicity they were, so I don't want to get too bogged down in that. But it was a very diverse cast, let's put it that way. A very diverse cast. Being set in the Bronx, it would be. But they did it without being stereotypical on any kind of ethnicity. They were just real people. And it was really nice to watch just these real people of a, a diverse cast of real people just become characters that you could root for and love and cheer for. When I first saw the preview, before I turned it on, I thought that this was going to be very heavy-handed politically, because the cast, the kids, were a very diverse group of, you know, ethnic diverse group of kids, while it looked like most of the vampires were all white. And it just seemed to me that a lot of the commentary that we were getting in the preview and in the trailer for it was heavy-handed political. That may have been the case, but I didn't feel it. And I'm not even convinced that it was the case. Part of me thinks that the trailer was cut to look like a heavy-handed movie politically, with a lot of political undertones. Because when I was watching it, I wasn't thinking about any kind of political undertones. I was thinking, this is fun, I'm having a great time, I hope these kids can kill these vampires. That's what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking, wow, these are all white vampires, then all these kids are diverse. I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking, this is exciting. So, you know, if you're like me, you saw the trailer and you thought, okay, this could be a little heavy-handed in terms of politics, in terms of commentary. Maybe not politics, but definitely commentary. And like I said, that intent may have been there, but I didn't really think. I didn't think about it at all until afterwards. I just found it to be a really fun vampire movie. And for me, I don't have a lot of fun vampire movies. I don't really care for vampire movies because there's just so many of them. So this was a win. I had a great time with Vampires vs. the Bronx. I definitely suggest you watch it. I love seeing how Netflix is able to bring in these diverse cast and turn them into just real characters instead of being stereotypes, and they're getting better and better at that. So I definitely applaud them for this movie. This was a lot of fun. So I'm gonna give Vampires vs. the Bronx an A- because it was a lot of fun, and I definitely hope we get a sequel, because this movie deserves a sequel. There's a fun twist at the end that you kind of saw coming, but not really, because you were hoping that it wasn't going to be that way. You were hoping that that's not the way the twist was going to go. But then it did. It's just a fun movie, guys. It's just a fun movie. I definitely recommend it. Vampires vs. the Bronx, A-. Check it out on Netflix. Definitely gets you into that Halloween mood. So, what did you think of Vampires vs. the Bronx? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. And as always, thank you so much for joining me here at the LQ Review, where we get to talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff we love to talk about. Until next time, we'll see you guys later.